It gives you that sensation of movement where you have different patches are chorusing at different times.
Brood 19, the largest and noisiest brood in Missouri, returned to put on its impressive display in the region. The 13-year brood of cicadas is part of the double emergence, when the two different broods of cicadas that emerge every 13 and 17 years are above ground together for the first time since 1803.
And that only happens in this region every 221 years.
Kasey Fowler-Finn is an associate professor of biology at St. Louis University. The Fowler-Finn lab studies both broods during the phenomenon.
We study how animals communicate with one another in a changing world. They're making noise for the reason most animals make noise, which is to find mates. Interestingly, the individual cicadas are actually quite quiet. It's the fact that there are so many of them singing together,
which happens to be extremely loud. A low-end decibel meter like this one is known to be off by 5 to 10 decibels, which means the cicada's song is easily reaching 100 decibels at least, right off the porch.
It's like sort of like a hairdryer, right? If you had a hairdryer next to your head for hours on end.
The loudness has been compared to many man-made things: a motorcycle, jackhammer, and
it's like a chainsaw. So that's basically the noise level that you can compare it to.
Dr. Dave Harris has heard it all.
90 decibels to almost 105.
He's an associate professor and director of audiology at St. Louis University School of Medicine.
Cicadas have been around for, what, centuries? And I don't think it's a major concern for hearing loss. Now, how far are you from that sound source, then how it is to your ear, then it kind of fluctuates.
The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, warns people about dangerous noise exposure and what is considered harmful noise.
Hearing loss, for the most part, tinnitus as well. Like if you have someone who work in a factory or you've been to a loud concert or a bar and you leave and your ear's ringing, that's because you're causing some kind of damage to your cochlear. Now sometimes that ringing goes away.
Fowler-Finn has a first-hand experience.
I went to north of Springfield and my ears were ringing afterwards, and I would say that was upwards of 100 decibels.
In her case, tinnitus is temporary.
I'm going to throw a monkey wrench in there, in that some people describe their tinnitus as cicadas. It sounds like cicadas. Some people hear a tone, some people hear it's like cicadas. Anything can potentially happen if you're in that environment for an extended period of time. Either way, it's usually something that's associated with a hearing loss. Anytime you're exposed to a certain level of noise, yes, it potentially can cause hearing loss. And it will be a high frequency hearing loss for the most part. And it's not because of the pitch of the actual sound, it's just how your cochlear is actually anatomically is. Cicadas shouldn't be that damaging to an average person's hearing. Can it cause tinnitus? It kind of really depends on the exposure. Something that's over time, if you're exposed to a certain level that's typically like 85 decibels or greater, can be damaging over time. One single gunfire can actually cause tinnitus as well, and that's just in an instant, but that's what's called impact noise.
So it's recommended to move away from the noise or wear hearing protection. Hearing protection is especially good in cases like this, and in cases like this. The volume of the cicadas is battling this sound. The cicada's song at least is sounding the alarm to pay attention to noise, especially the potentially dangerous ones.
When you go to a loud concert, your ears are ringing. Well, your hair cells in your cochlear are just fried. And then eventually over time, it goes away. But when you are tasking your ear like that on a regular basis, it can become permanent. Okay, can you hear me okay? All right.